MCOM Net, second Monday at 7 p.m., W5FC. W5FC. TechNet Saturday at 7 p.m. W5FC.
Mr. Chairman, I need to make myself very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
Anyone need to use the repeater before we begin the 9 p.m. Skynet? This is KFI's TDS. My name is Billy, and I'll be your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. Skynet is a weekly net called every Saturday night at 9 p.m. concerning the subject of astronomy. Our purpose is to help amateurs become more familiar with the nighttime and daytime sky, astronomy, and space in general. Net is open to all amateurs interested in this topic, and we encourage your participation, comments, and suggestions for this net. Stations with priority or emergency traffic may enter the net at any time by using the pro sign, break, and your call sign. Is there any emergency or priority traffic? The directed net. Please do not transmit without direction from net control. That would be me. And stations are reminded to ID at the end of your transmissions. This weekly net operates on 146.880 megahertz with a TL tone of 110.9. Check-ins via Echolink are also possible using the W5FC-R station ID or Echolink node 37247. Tonight's topics, astronomy pictures, and live audio-video links are available online. Go to www.w5fc.org right now for the complete list, and remember to tell others about this popular net. All amateur operators are welcome. You need not be a member of any amateur radio club to participate. The net is 90 minutes long and is structured in several parts. General announcements, Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events, National Space Society events, the topic of the evening, Was Up, Space Exploration and Space History, Constellation of the Week, Space Launches of the Week, Recent Astronomical Discoveries, Visible Satellite Passages over the next couple of days, Astronomical Q&A, and our 73 round. Amateurs licensed to transmit on this frequency are invited to check in. So at this time, I will turn the net over to my alternate net control, Tom, KE5ICX. If you'll do the check-in honors, please, from KFI's TDS.
Thank you, Miss Billy, and thank you for doing the net this evening. This is KE5ICX. I'll be your alternate net control. My name is Tom. We'll go ahead and get started. I will now take low-power short-time check-ins. If you are one of those, please come with your call sign phonetically, your name. Let me know where you're transmitting from and whether you're low-power short-time. Please come now.
This is Whiskey 5 Golf Uniform Sierra Gus, far 4 northeast Dallas, low power 5 watts.
W5 BLT, Whiskey 5, bacon, lettuce, tomato, Bill, low power.
Kilo Golf 5, Uniform Foxtrot Romeo. Jacob, Farmers Branch, low power 5 watts.
This is Kilo India 5, Uniform Juliet, Dustin in Dallas, low power 5 watts.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Papa Lima, Huey, Richardson, 5 watts.
All right, I think that's a record on low power. I've got W5GUS Gus, far northeast Dallas. He's low power 5 watts. I got W5BLT Bill, low power, I think Dallas. I've got you in. KG5UFR Jacob, Farmers Branch, low power 5 watts. KI5UUJ, that's Dustin, low power 5 watts. Also, I believe in Dallas. KF5PLL Huey, Richardson, 5 watts, low power. Anyone else low power or short time?
November 8, Whiskey Romeo, N8WWR. Romy, I'm in Grapevine, short time for the count. Thanks for running that time.
And I got N8WWR, Romy over is short time over in Grapevine. I'll go ahead and ask, and any of you who are checked in, do you have anything you want to bring to the net this evening before you run out of power or have to leave us? Please come with your call.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Papa Lima, Huey.
Hey, Huey, go ahead. KF5PLL.
I want to thank Chaz for covering this in the past. As you all might have heard, the Texas Astronomical Society is easing back into public outreach. The various entities such as the Mesquite Planetarium and other outreach organizations have contacted us about our resumption of public activities. We're easing into it depending on the weather and if the person's schedule can accommodate Saturday. However, I would like to add at this particular point, we are looking for a person to take over the 4th Saturday of the month Rockwall Star Party. If any of you all are in the area and would be interested, please contact taskobserving@gmail.com. Back to net. Thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you, Huey. Does anybody need any fills? You don't necessarily have to be checked in. Just come with your call. All right, very good. We will continue our check-ins now. I'll take general check-ins. Please come with your call sign phonetically, your name, and where you're transmitting from.
Kilo 5.
Number 5 is Golf Hotel Plant in Louisville.
That was exciting. November Tango 5, Tango Mike, Tony in Dallas.
This is Alpha 5, Alpha Hotel, Robert and Richardson.
Whiskey
Whiskey Bravo 5, Oscar Zulu Lima, Brendan DeSoto.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Zulu Bravo Lima, Bill, Farmers Branch. This is Kilo Golf 5, Whiskey Victor Lima, James and Carrollton. Kilo Golf 5, Bravo Zulu Whiskey J, however. November 5, Bravo Bravo, Bill in Irving.
We're a couple of doubles, so if you don't hear your call sign, I just didn't hear you, and we'll get you on this next round. K5JDW, John in Capel, I believe, NT5TM, Tony in Dallas, AA5AH, Robert in Richardson, WB50ZL, Brenda in DeSoto, KF5ZBL, Bill in Farmers Branch. Let's see here, KG5, oh, I can't read, Whiskey Victor Lima, that's James in Carrollton, KG5, ZBL, that's Jay near Weatherford, N5BB, Bill in Irving. I'll take additional check-ins now, please.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Juliet Hotel Alpha. Chaz, Planet Earth, more precisely, Mesquite.
All right, we picked up one, KF5JHA, Chaz in Mesquite. All right, I'm going to go over to Echolink. Echolink, if you are there and have not checked in yet already, please come now with your call sign, your name, where you're transmitting from. That would be Echolink only, please. I will give you extra time.
Golf Hotel Oscar Lance in Louisville.
Kilo 5, Kilo Tango X-Ray Kelly at the Prude Ranch in Fort Davis, Texas.
All right, I've got, Philippe, you had no audio, but I did see you transmit, so I'll just go ahead and check you in. KI5KTZ somewhere. N5GHO, that's Lance in Louisville. K5KTX, Kelly at the Star Party Prude Ranch, I believe. Thank you for checking in. I'll take additional check-ins. Anybody like to join us? Any mode? Please come now with your call sign, your name, where you're transmitting from.
Kilo Bravo 9, Sierra Oscar Kilo, Sean in Fort Worth.
Kilo 5 Bravo Tango Whiskey, Bryn in Princeton.
Okay, we picked up two more. I got KB9SOK, that's Sean in Fort Worth. K5BTW, that's Brent in Princeton. Welcome to both of you. Anyone else before we go ahead and get the net started? Okie doke. Miss Brenda, Billy, I'll do this right. Miss Billy, there we have 22 check-ins. Sending the net back to you. This is KE5ICX.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you to all who have checked in on Skynet. All right, let's get the net started with general announcements. Do we have any general announcements for this evening's net? These can be ham, astronomical, space, or of general interest to licensed hams. If you have an announcement for this evening's net, please come now with your call sign.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike.
Yeah, Tony, good evening. What announcements do you have for us this evening?
Thank you, Billy. I'm sad to report that I have not seen the Afterglow movie. Just too busy today. But we do have the Afterglow movie discussion net coming up at about 10:30-ish after this net, 10:30 or 10:35 or so. Your participation is welcome, even if, like me, you did not see this week's movie. We also do have a fourth Monday coming up. The fourth Monday is, in fact, this Monday, the 25th, and that means it's time for GeekNet. Anything that you like geeking out about, stamp collecting, butterflies, bees, garden plants, transistor collecting, vacuum tube polishing as a hobby, anything that you like to geek out about, especially including geeky news and news of the weird, is welcome. That's this Monday on this repeater at 7 p.m., and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. NT5TM.
Thank you, Tony. Does anybody else have any announcements for this evening's net? If so, please come now with your call. Hearing any, so I'll go ahead with a few announcements of my own. The AMSAT Radio Amateur Satellite Group has 3 nets available to Dallas residents. On Tuesday evenings at 8 Central Time, you'll need Echolink installed and you registered. You can find the net under Groups and AMSAT. Also, a live audio link is available on their website at www.amsatnet.com. This net originates in Houston, Texas. The Dallas AMSAT Net East, Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas, is every Tuesday at 8 p.m. This repeater, 146.880 megahertz with a PL tone of 110.9. Tom N5HYP is net control. All are welcome to check in. The first Tuesday of the month is the DARC Club Night, so there's no AMSAT East on that night. The Dallas AMSAT Net West is every Wednesday at 9 p.m. on the Arlington repeater, 147.140 megahertz with a PL tone of 110.9 and a positive offset. ARC hosts several Monday night nets. The first Monday of the month is Ham Fixin's Net. This net you can get lots of good recipes. If you have a recipe to share or have a question or anecdote about food, come to Ham Fixin's Net. The second Monday of the month is MCOM 101, Emergency Communications. The third Monday, come back for a second helping of Ham Fixin's Net. And as Tony mentioned, on the fourth Monday, we have GeekNet. And if there is ever a fifth Monday, it is a surprise net. If we told you what it was about, it wouldn't be a surprise. On-air participation is encouraged. Set East, 8 p.m., as question answers, info, and news for amateur satellites. Fridays is CERT City simulation at 8 p.m. Learn about emergency radio communications via CERT-trained amateur radio operators. Melissa, KI5GRH, is usually the net control. Visit the most disaster-prone city in the universe every Friday. CERT City, all are welcome. And Saturdays is the Night of Nets, with TechNet from 7 to 8 p.m. and Skynet at 9 p.m. And as Tony mentioned, you'll hear more about in a few minutes, the Afterglow Movie Net at 10:30 following Skynet. On the first and third Sundays is the Dallas Amateur Radio Club meeting on the air. And daily we have the ARRL Net National Traffic System Training Net every night at 6 p.m. Central Time. All are welcome to check in on any or all of these nets. As Tony mentioned, following Skynet is the Afterglow Movie Net. This is a movie discussion net where if you're new to this net and you haven't heard of the Afterglow movie, what we do is we pick a movie after we've discussed the previous week's movie. We list, we watch it during the week, and then we come back on the Afterglow Movie Net and we discuss it. We discuss everything from plot, characterization, special effects, music, and any other interesting tidbits about the movie that we want to discuss. So at this time, I'm going to turn the net over to Tom, alternate net control, KE5ICX, if you will give us tonight's Afterglow info from KF5PBS.
Thank you, Billy. This is KE5ICX. The director woke up. His bottle of Jack Daniels knocked over, its contents puddling on the floor. It had been a tough night, and the morning was now even tougher. He'd remembered drinking excessively at the Brown Derby, and he seemed to remember someone talking to him about making a movie. Something inspiring, durable, relatable, cheaply produced, and would become a cult classic. His headache, a 4-alarmer, pounded in his head. Amongst the debris on the floor was a half-soaked script and some pictures near them. The pictures were of him. The script was about Alice in Wonderland. The pictures showed him pretty naked. The script demonstrated a not-so-pretty story. He also noticed a new tattoo on his arm, which read, "I hope you like the movie you'll be directing. I have more pictures to show you. Good luck with funding." Join us for another Mr. Shaky script special, Malice in Wonderland, from 2009 or 2010, depending on which source you found it at, tonight at 10:30 p.m. Back to net control.
Thank you very much, Tom. And you can keep up with all the DA events, nets, and activities by going to the club website, w5fc.org. At this time, we're going to move on to the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas event, where and when you can look through a telescope. So if there's anyone on frequency that would like to give information about the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas, please come now with your call sign.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Juliet Hotel Alpha.
JHA, Chaz, good evening. What information do you have for us about the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas?
Thank you, Billy. Good evening, everyone. Huey has already talked a little bit about this, but I'll talk about it a lot more, the TAS information, that is. Actually, the last Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas Club meeting was last night. Professor Siegel from SMU talked about recent NASA missions and what has happened with them. So it was really exciting. Anyway, the next Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas Club meeting will be held on Friday, May the 27th at 7:30 p.m. Now, get this. The meeting will be held in person at the University of Dallas and will also be held on Zoom. Kevin Cobble and Bill Coupling will be the featured speakers talking about citizen astronomy and recent occultation observations. TAS Club members will receive an email link to the Zoom meeting in advance of the meeting. Now, Saturday night public observing sessions have begun again. Again, the first one that happened was almost a month ago. That was the Garland Stargazer Star Party, which is hosted by Huey. He talked about that a few minutes ago. One of the reasons that Skynet was picked to be on Saturday nights was so that there was an opportunity for live reports, like I did a month ago, from the TASS public observing sessions, which are also held on Saturday nights. Check the TASS website, texasastro.org, for up-to-date information and details about meetings and public observing sessions. Since they're volunteer webmasters, they're a little bit behind on getting things posted, but hopefully they'll get caught up. This is KF5, JHA, Backdoor Net Control, Dr. Billy, KF5 PDS.
Thank you, Chaz. And as you mentioned, you can go to www.texasastro.org and select a calendar in the pull-down for complete. Check it out. And I'm so glad to hear things are coming back in person and star parties are starting back up. That is awesome. Such good news. All right, this is KF5 CDS, Billy, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. All right, next up is National Space Society events and activities. I didn't hear if Bill is on frequency FIBB. We'll turn to National Space Society events and activities.
Yes, Billy, I checked in. This is N5BB. I happen to be the membership director of the National Space Society North Texas chapter. Our local chapter meets on the second Sunday afternoon of each month. So our next meeting is going to be Sunday, May the 8th. It'll be starting at 3:30 p.m. The location will be Spring Creek Barbecue in Irving. This is on the southwest corner of the intersection of Highway 183 and Beltline in Irving. Again, the meeting will start at 3:30. The presentation will start at 4 p.m. I do not yet know the topic for our meeting. We do plan to try to do a hybrid meeting with WebEx as well as an in-person meeting. If you want to learn more, please send me an email. My email address is space@byram.net. That's SPACE@BYROM.net. Or you can use my ARL address, N5BB, that's November 5, Bravo, Bravo, @ARL.net. We currently are looking at doing some in-person events, but they aren't completely solidified yet. So we're trying to do some in-person events over at the Perot Science Museum and maybe some other locations that we've done things in the past, but so far we don't have those completely solidified. The other big news about the National Space Society is we will be holding the in-person, the 2022 International Space Development Conference. This is abbreviated ISDC. And after 2 years of being off because of the pandemic, it'll be back on in person. And this year it's going to be in Arlington, Virginia, across the river from right adjacent to Washington, D.C. And the meeting will be from Friday, the 27th of May, through Sunday, the 29th of May. So it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event at the Hyatt Regency Crystal City Hotel, which is very close to Reagan National Airport there in Arlington, Virginia. If you'd like to learn more, you can go to, let me make sure I get you the right location. I know you can go to ISDC. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. They changed the web address. Wait one moment. Be right back. N5BB. Yes. So you can go to ISDC2022.nss.org. That's ISDC2022.nss.org. Or you can just do a web search for ISDC 2022, which is International Space Development Conference. Again, May 27th to 29th of this year. I will be there. My first airplane flight since November of 2019, right before COVID. If you have any questions, send me an email. Or if you'd like an invite to our virtual meeting or like to attend our in-person meeting. That's all I got, Billy. This is N5BB.
Thank you, Bill. And I'll just throw out there that the National Space Society of North Texas has an active Facebook page. Just type National Space Society of North Texas into the search box and request access. You'll receive meeting reminders and club activities. Next up is discussion topic of the evening. So for tonight, I have chosen unexpected temperature changes on Neptune. Article is on NASA.gov, Solar System Exploration, news article that was posted on April 15th, 2022. New study finds unexpected temperature changes on Neptune. Average global temperature on Neptune unexpectedly fluctuated during a recent 17-year period, according to a new study published by the American Astronomical Society in the Planetary Science Journal. Researchers, including scientists from NASA, analyzed ground-based images of Neptune taken in the mid-infrared range between 2003 and 2020. The images reveal Neptune's stratosphere appears to have cooled between 2003 and 2009, followed by a dramatic warming of the South Pole between 2018 and 2020. Conversely, upper tropospheric temperatures didn't vary much except for the South Pole, which appeared warmest between 2003 and 2000. Scientists had expected seasons would change slowly on Neptune because it takes the planet so long to orbit the Sun, 165 years. Neptune is the most distant planet in our solar system, the 8th major planet outward from the Sun. Dark, cold, and whipped by supersonic winds, the ice giant is more than 30 times as far from the Sun as Earth. Neptune does not have a solid surface. Its atmosphere is made mostly of hydrogen, helium, and methane, and extends to great depths, gradually merging into water and other melted ices, enclosing a solid core with about the same mass as Earth. Neptune is our solar system's windiest. Drive clouds of frozen methane across the planet at speeds of more than 1,200 miles per hour. Even Earth's most powerful winds hit only about 250 miles per hour. Information can be found in an article from BGR entitled "A New Mystery on Neptune Has Astronomers Baffled." Neptune is full of mysteries. Previously, scientists discovered an intriguing dark spot on Neptune. We've also witnessed storms doing unexpected things on the planet. Now, through fluctuations in Neptune's temperature, have raised even more questions about the planet. Astronomers published a new study on the changes. In the study, the scientists compiled over 17 years' worth of Neptune temperature readings. Instead of warming up, though, the astronomers noticed that the temperatures dropped, a global average of 8 degrees Celsius. Change was unexpected. Michael Roman, a planetary scientist from the University of Leicester, been observing Neptune during its early summer. We expected temperatures to be slowly growing. Of course, gathering data about Neptune's temperatures is not easy. A big part of that is because of how far away the planet is from Earth. Additionally, the technique we use to study it has only been around since the turn of the century. As such, we have a limited pool of data to build off of. Currently, astronomers use the VLT imager and spectrometer for mid-infrared, or VISIR, VISIR, to gather temperature-based information. VISIR is part of the European Southern Observatory's very large telescope. It reads temperatures based on the level of infrared light emission. Roman and his team of scientists studied roughly 100 thermal observations to determine Neptune's temperature changes. VISIR is responsible for many of those readings. Others came from NASA's Spitzer Space Telescope. Finally, others came from ground-based telescopes. The real question is, why are the temperatures fluctuating? Not only did the temperatures fall from 2003 to 2018, but from 2018 to 2020, Neptune's temperatures rose rapidly by 11 degrees Celsius in the planet's south pole. The temperature changes are so extreme, astronomers aren't really sure what causes fluctuations. However, they say it could be due to changes in the stratospheric chemistry. Random weather patterns or even the planet's solar cycle could be behind the changes. Fortunately, there are a lot of possible reasons that Neptune's temperatures have been fluctuating. If they want the answer, astronomers say they will need to observe it even more in the coming years. This article again was on BTR, posted on April 16, 2022 by Joshua Hawkins. So again, you can go to BTR.com or you can go to NASA.gov and look up the new study finds unexpected temperature changes on Neptune. This is KF5 PDS, Billy, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. This time I'd like to call upon my alternate net control, Tom, KE5ICX. If you'll do a check-in round, see if we have any other folks out there that would like to check in to Skynet, and then you have my permission to go from your check-in round to hand it over to Chaz for What's Up. So this is to KE5ICX from KF5 PDS.
All right, thank you, Miss Brenda. I just mentioned that I forgot to get N5IMS, JJ, and Carrollton from last time. And then over on YouTube, we've got Augustin Herrero from Chile. I don't think he's a ham, but he is watching the link. So let me go ahead and take additional check-ins now. If you'd like to join us, please come with your call sign, your name, where you're transmitting from.
This is Whiskey Bravo number 4, Mike Foxtrot, India, WB4MFI, Ted, Dallas, low power.
November 5, Oscar Foxtrot, Clay, MSG.
Golf 5, Zulu Mike Golf, Joe in Arlington.
Okay, we picked up 3 more. We have WB4 MFI, Ted in Dallas, low power, N5OF Clay in Mesquite, KG5ZMG, that's Joe in Arlington. Okay, as instructed, I'm going to send it over to Chaz, KF5JHA, to tell us what's up.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Billy. This is Chaz, KF5JHA. My degree's in astrophysics. I'm in charge of the astrophysics labs and geology labs at Dallas College at the Brookhaven campus. And we call this segment of Skynet Was Up. Slide master, that would be Tom. Slide number 2, please. Today, yes, today, on April the 23rd, the moon is at its 3rd quarter phase. On April the 30th, the moon will be new. On May the 5th, the moon is at apogee, which is the point in the moon's orbit that is furthest from the Earth at a distance of 405,285 kilometers. On May the 8th, the moon will be at its 1st quarter phase. On May the 15th, the moon will be at its full, and there will be a total lunar eclipse, which I'll talk about in detail in a few minutes. On May the 17th, the moon is at perigee, which is a point in the moon's orbit that is closest to the Earth at a distance of 360,298 kilometers. Slide master, slide number 3, please. JJ, I do not have leaves, thank you. I'm relaying stuff that's on Echolink, yeah. Tonight, on April 23rd, 24th, the Paipuppet meteor shower will peak with a zenith-hourly rate of up to 40 meteors. Well, the 3rd quarter moon won't interfere with the observing of these meteors, though. I always suggest to visit a state park or a wildlife refuge because there are 80 of them here in Texas. Most of them are away from the city lights. And Kelly can probably give you reviews about most of them. Slide master, slide number 4, please. On April the 25th, in the east-southeastern morning sky, you can find the moon and Mars and Saturn making a nice conjunction. Slide master, slide number 5. On April the 27th, the moon can be found just below Jupiter with Venus and Neptune not far away. Again, these are in the southeastern morning sky. Slide number 6, please. Looking closer to Venus and Neptune, on April the 27th, we discover that Venus and Neptune are only about 1/3 of a degree apart from each other. This would be a great time and date to observe Neptune if you've never done so. This will require a telescope, but with a pair of binoculars, you might be able to pull them out as well. Neptune's just bright enough to maybe see through binoculars. Slide master, slide number 7, please. On April the 29th, Mercury and the Pleiades will be about 1 degree apart in a close conjunction in the western evening sky. Slide number 8. Jupiter and Venus, which are the 2 brightest objects in the sky other than the sun and the moon, will be in conjunction with a separation of only about 1/2 of a degree in the morning of April the 30th in the eastern sky. Slide number 9, please. And finally, on April the 30th, there's a partial solar eclipse, but that's not visible from North America. Slide master, slide number 10, please. A lot of different things going on in the skies over the next 3 weeks or so. On May the 2nd, in the western evening sky, during very strong twilight, there will be a conjunction of the moon, Mercury, and Pleiades. Binoculars will probably be required to observe this. And slide number 11, please. back in 1986. Did you see Comet Halley or Halley? If you did or you didn't, you can still see it at the beginning of May. Well, at least small parts of the comet. When Comet Halley travels in its orbit, it leaves small bits of debris. These small bits of debris orbit the sun. In the early part of May each year, the Earth runs through this debris field. The particles run into the Earth's atmosphere so hard and so fast that they burn up in the Earth's atmosphere. This is the reason for the Eta Aquarium meteor shower. The Eta Aquarium meteor shower peaks on the night of May the 5th through the 6th, with an average of about 55 meteors per hour, or in other words, about one every minute. More meteors are usually seen in the morning sky in the hour just before morning twilight. So get up early on May the 6th rather than staying up late on May the 5th. But wait, inside the city you might only see a dozen meteors in an hour because of light pollution. This year the moon is a couple of days, I'm sorry, I've got the wrong information. So it depends on the moon phase how many you can see. So you can start observing around midnight and stop observing after it becomes twilight. Inside the city, again, you might only see one about every 10 minutes. Once again, the Texas state parks are open and might be a great place to go camping. Now, the Orionid meteor shower in October is also caused by the debris of Comet Halley, and we'll talk about that in several months from now. Slide Master, slide number 12, please. How many of you out there have observed an asteroid? I mean, with your two eyes or through a telescope. On May the 6th, you might have an opportunity to observe Saturn with an asteroid called Vesta, less than a degree away from Saturn in the early morning eastern sky. A pair of binoculars or telescope, as well as a good finder chart, will be good tools to use while observing them. Interesting. Slide number 13, please. On the night of May the 8th and 9th, the Eta Aquarium meteor shower will be maximum and will produce only a few meteors per hour. They're not a spectacular meteor shower by any means. Slide Master, slide number 14. Now, here is something that's spectacular. On the night of May the 15th and 16th, there will be a total lunar eclipse visible across all of North America. The eclipse begins when the moon enters the lighter part of the Earth's shadow, called the penumbra, at 8:32 p.m. Central Daylight Time. This part of the eclipse is difficult to notice, but at 9:28 p.m. Central Daylight Time, the moon enters the darker part of the Earth's shadow, called the umbra. The moon goes completely inside the umbra at 10:29 p.m., which is the beginning of what we call totality. The middle of totality is 11:11 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Totality ends when the moon begins to leave the umbra at 11:54 p.m. The moon leaves the umbra at 12:55 a.m. and the eclipse ends at 1:51 a.m. That would be on May the 16th, when the moon leaves the penumbra part of the Earth's shadow. This will be a great opportunity for you to try your skills at taking astronomical pictures. Try it. This is KF5, JHA, and this is Skynet. Slide Master, slide number 15, please. Yes, Wednesday, May the 4th is Star Wars Day. Yeah, may the 4th be with you. Thank you, JJ. The next Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas Club meeting will be held on Friday, May the 27th at 7:30 p.m. The meeting will be in person and also being held on Zoom at the same time. Again, Kevin Cobble and Bill Coupling will be the featured speakers talking about citizen astronomy and recent occultation observations. And believe it or not, we have started public observing sessions, and the next one that I know about will be on the first Saturday of May, and that'll be the Stargazer Star Party from Garland. I hope to be there once again and broadcast live from that location. Now, For more up-to-date information or more information, go to texasastro.org for the details. Slide Master, slide number 16, please. Now, do any of you out there in Radio Land have a question or need a fill on any of the information? Or do you just have a general astronomy question? I don't know everything, but I may know the answer to your question, or someone else on the net might know the answer to your question. Come now with your call sign if you have a question. Hey, I didn't hear anything. So Slide Master, slide number 17. So as the moon wanes at the end of April, so do these words for the segment of Skynet. Stay safe, keep well, pray for our world. It's the only one where humans live, and pray for the people of Ukraine. Until next week, actually I'll be doing another Skynet segment in a few minutes. Keep looking up so you know what's up. And this is Chaz, KF5, JHA, back to our net control, Dr. Billy, KF5, PDS.
Thank you, Chaz. This is KF5TDS, Billy, your net control for this section of the BARC Skynet. All right, next up is space exploration and space history. So at this time, I'll turn the net over to Kelly, K5KTX, at the Prude Ranch for Texas Star Party. And Kelly, do you want to give us some details on TSP and let us know how things are going? That would be awesome. So this is to K5KTX from KF5TDS.
Billy, this is K5KTX. The annual Texas Star Party is starting actually tomorrow. Because I'm one of the volunteers, I got to get here a day early, and so I'm actually all set up on the field, but I am exhausted, so I decided not to do any astronomy tonight, but I will get after it starting tomorrow, I hope. But so anyways, people will start arriving tomorrow, and it's a week-long event. It's not been held for the last 2 years due to COVID, and so it's very exciting to be back on at the ranch again with really dark skies, and we have a great selection of speakers, and we have the Great Texas Giveaway, so they have a lot of door prizes to give away. One of our speakers this year is Deborah Bird, who was one of the founders of the Texas Star Party at the Prude Ranch, and so that'll be great to get a chance to meet her. But it's a great week, very dark skies. Hopefully the weather will cooperate. It looks good so far, and it's a wonderful event to come to. It's usually held this time of the year, maybe into May, depending on the availability of the ranch and the new moons. Want to have it during new moons. So anyway, so lots of already seen a lot of Texas Astronomical Society members. We're all kind of set up together up on the upper field, and anyway, it should be a great week. Right, so in the space news this week, NASA's Perseverance Mars rover has captured dramatic footage of Phobos, Mars's potato-shaped moon crossing the face of the sun. These observations can help scientists better understand the moon's orbit and how its gravity pulls on the Martian surface, ultimately shaping the red planet's crust and mantle. Captured with Perseverance's next-generation Mastcam Z camera on April the 2nd, the 397th Martian day or soul of the mission, the eclipse lasted a little over 40 seconds, much shorter than a typical solar eclipse involving Earth's moon. Phobos is about 157 times smaller than Earth's moon. Mars's other moon, Deimos, is even smaller. images are the latest in a long history of NASA spacecraft capturing solar eclipses on Mars. Back in 2004, the twin NASA rovers Spirit and Opportunity took the first time-lapse photos of Phobos during a solar eclipse. Curiosity continued the trend with video shot by its Mastcam camera system. But Perseverance, which landed in February of 2021, has provided the most zoomed-in video of a Phobos solar eclipse yet, and at the highest frame rate ever. That's thanks to Perseverance's next-generation Mastcam Z camera system, a zoomable upgrade from Curiosity's Mastcam. Color sets this version of a Phobos solar eclipse apart. Mastcam Z has a solar filter that acts like sunglasses to reduce light intensity. You can see details in the shape of Phobos' shadow, like ridges and bumps on the moon's landscape. You can also see sunspots. And it's cool that you can see this eclipse exactly as the rover saw it from Mars. This is K5KTX. As Phobos circles Mars, its gravity exerts small tidal forces on the red planet's interior, slightly deforming rock in the planet's crust and mantle. These forces also slowly change Phobos' orbit. As a result, geophysicists can use those changes to better understand how pliable the interior of Mars is, revealing more about the materials within the crust and mantle. Scientists already know that Phobos is doomed. The moon is getting closer to the Martian surface and is destined to crash into the planet in tens of millions of years. But eclipse observations from the surface of Mars over the last 2 decades have also allowed scientists to refine their understanding of Phobos' slow death spiral. There was some other exciting news from Perseverance this week. After collecting 8 rock core samples from its first science campaign and completing a record-breaking 31 Martian day dash across about 3 miles of Mars, NASA's Perseverance arrived at the doorstep of Jezero Crater's ancient river delta on April the 13th. Dubbed Three Forks by the Perseverance team, a reference to the spot where 3 route options to the delta merge, the location serves as the staging area for the rover's second science expedition, the Delta Front campaign. The Delta, a massive fan-shaped collection of rocks and sediment at the western edge of Jezero Crater, formed at the convergence of a Martian river and a crater lake billions of years ago. Its exploration tops the Perseverance science team's wish list because all the fine-grained sediment deposited at space long ago is the mission's best bet for finding the preserved remnants of an ancient microbial life. So be sure to check the NASA or JPL website often over the coming months to read about new discoveries. And also be sure to go out and look for the images of the eclipse that happened. It was pretty fascinating. In space history this past week, back on April the 17th in 1970, Apollo 13 returned to Earth after narrowly avoiding a deadly disaster in space. This was supposed to be the 3rd mission to land on the moon. Astronauts Jim Lovell, Jack Swigert, and Fred Hayes launched on April the 11th and were 2 days into their trip to the moon when an oxygen tank exploded and NASA had to abort the mission. Luckily, they survived re-entry and safely splashed down into the Pacific Ocean. April the 18th, back in 2014, NASA's Lunar Atmosphere and Dust Environment Explorer, also known as LADY, ended its mission by crashing into the moon. LADY has spent 7 months orbiting the moon and studying its exosphere. The exosphere is a thin gas that's kind of like an atmosphere, but the molecules are more spread out and are definitely not breathable. LADY conducted a lunar dust experiment in which it collected and analyzed the dust particles floating around in the exosphere. This experiment was intended to help NASA solve the mystery behind the faint glow Apollo astronauts reported seeing on the lunar surface. Lady discovered neon in the exosphere, but it wasn't enough to account for the glow, and the mystery remains unsolved. When Lady ran out of fuel, NASA intentionally crashed it into the lunar surface. It was traveling 3,600 miles per hour during the crash and created a crater almost 10 feet wide. And this week we just had one birthday to celebrate, and it was on April the 20th, 1955. Our good friend Don Pettit, who was part of Expedition 6, Space Shuttle Mission STS-126, and Expedition 3031. And that's all I've got this evening. This is K5KTX. Back to you, Billy.
Thanks, Kelly, and glad to hear that TST is shaping up for a great week. I wish you all the best in clear skies and happy observing. Next up is Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week. At this time, I'm going to return it to Tom, KE5ICX. If you'll do a quick check-in round, see if we have any additional check-ins. And then once again, you have my permission to turn it over to Chaz for Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week after your check-in round. So this is the KE5ICX from KFI CBS.
Thank you, Billy, and this is KE5ICX. I do have and recognize Brian, KD5IFS over in Dallas. He's actually watching the stream tonight, so I've got him checked in. I'll take additional check-ins. If you'd like to join us, please come now with your call sign, your name, and where you're transmitting from. Okay, well, we'll move along then. KF5JHA, Chaz, go ahead with Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week from KE5ICX.
Thank you, Tom. Oh, I think I'm up to 3.5 points. We're playing a game over here in Echo Link, and I think I've got 3.5 points right now. Yeah. Kelly, I have a theory about the glow. I think it's from the Man on the Moon's bald head. That's my theory, anyway. Slide Masters, slide number 18, please. Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week is named in honor of Silent Key Carolyn, KC5OZT. Carolyn contributed to Skynet each week, almost from its beginning in 2012 until May of 2019, with a detailed look at one particular constellation each week. Since there are about 52 easily visible constellations seen in Texas throughout the year, out of the 88 total constellations, so Miss Carolyn covered the entire sky as seen over North Texas in a year. In her honor, we have continued the tradition of a constellation per week and named this segment after her. Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week this week is Centaurus, the Centaur. The constellation Centaurus represents a centaur, the Centaurian, from the Greek mythology. It was a leader of the centaurs, a race of half-man, half-horse creatures. The mythology of centaurs had a reputation of being a savage, but the leader was a noble exception. I quote from the Starlore Handbook. He was wise and benevolent, taught humans many arts and skills, and is credited with the design of the constellation figures themselves. End of quote. Slide Master, slide number 19. This is the moment you have been waiting for. Oh yes, the jokes of the week. Now, there's a centaur walking around in a hazmat suit. How would I fill in the rest of this? He's from the Centaurs for Disease Control. What do you get if you cross a human and a centaur? A quarter horse. You see, a centaur is half human, half horse, so okay, I'll let you do the math. Our net control is a math whiz. Yeah, she can tell you all about that. So a centaur walks into a bar The bartender says, "Hey, how's that sore throat?" The centaur replies, "My throat isn't hoarse, but my legs are." Okay. What do you call a talkative man horse? The centaur of attention. And the last one. Why did the centaur never get a singing career? It's similar to another one I was telling you. He was always somewhat hoarse. Slide Master, slide number 20. Help me get out of this. How do you find Centaurus? Well, let's start with something that I have already talked about before, Virgo. It's the brightest, has the brightest star in it. It's called Spica. If you just go south and down from Spica, you'll run into a constellation, Centaurus. Slide Master, slide number 21. Alpha Centauri, proper name for Alpha Centauri is Rigel Centaurus, means the centaur's foot, which is derived from the star's position in the constellation. Alpha Centauri is not visible from Dallas. It's too far south to be seen from this latitude. However, it is theoretically visible from Brownsville, Texas, transiting at about 3.4 degrees above the southern horizon. Alpha Centauri is a triple star system and is famous for being the closest star system to the sun at only 4.34 light years away. It is the third brightest star in the sky as seen from the Earth, shining at magnitude 0.27. Only Sirius and Canopus appear brighter in the sky. Slide Master, slide number 22, please. The system consists of Alpha Centaur A, B, and C, with A and B being the close pair that can be split with an amateur telescope. These two stars are similar in size to the sun, and they have an orbital period of about 80 years, with the true distance between them varying from about 11 to 35 astronomical units. It is the star's binary nature that lands it in the place of the Astronomical League Southern Sky Observing Club. A is a yellow G2 star, similar to our sun. B is a yellow-orange K1 star. Alpha Centaur C is also known as Proxima Centaur. It is a red dwarf star and is slightly nearer to us than the bright AB pair, making it the closest individual star to our sun. It orbits around the AB pair at a distance of about 1 trillion miles, giving it a long orbital period estimated to be about 500,000 years. It shines at 11th magnitude, so it would be visible from the southern dark sky in a 3-inch or larger telescope. Slide Master, slide number 23. And I'm still stuck on these stars. Proxima Centaur is known to have at least one planet orbiting around it, known as Proxima Centaur B, making it the close-known exoplanet to our solar system. It was discovered using the radial velocity method, where the periodic Doppler shifts of the spectral lines of the host star suggest of an orbiting object. The discovery of Proxima Centaur B was announced in August of 2016 by the European Southern Observatory. The exoplanet's exact mass has not yet been determined, but it is believed to be somewhere about 1.3 to 3 times the mass of the Earth, so it is not a giant planet like Jupiter. It orbits Proxima at a distance of 4.6 million miles, with a period of 11.2 Earth days. From Proxima Centaur B, or anywhere indeed in the Alpha Centaur triple star system, the Earth's sun would appear to be a bright 0.4 magnitude star in the constellation of Cassiopeia, near the Cassiopeia-Perseus border, not too far away from the double cluster. And this is KF5JHA, and this is Skynet. Slide Master, slide number 24. Beta Centaur, which is also known as Hadar, and also as Agena. Hadar is the Arabic word for ground, which derives probably from the fact that In ancient times, Beta Centauri was always close to the horizon when it was visible. Beta Centauri is not visible from Dallas. Once again, it is theoretically visible from Brownsville, Texas, transiting at 3.8 degrees above the southern horizon. Beta Centauri is a blue-white B1 type, similar star, similar to Rigel in Orion. It's about 490 light years in distance, and it shines at a magnitude 0.66, making it the 10th brightest star in the sky. Beta Centauri itself is a double star, having a magnitude of 4.1 companion that is difficult to split because it is only 1.3 arcseconds from the primary. Beta Centauri forms a wide naked eye pair of about 4.5 degrees separation from Alpha. A line drawn from Alpha Centauri through Beta Centauri points nearly to Crux, the Southern Cross. One more star, T Centauri, is a variable star that shines varies in brightness over a 90-day period from about magnitude 5.5 at its brightest to around 9th magnitude at its faintest. T Centauri is easily visible from the latitude of Dallas, as it is the northern part of the constellation. Slide Master, slide number 25. Omega Centauri, also known as NGC 5139, is the famous globular cluster of the southern sky. Omega is widely believed to be the largest, brightest, and probably the closest of all the globular clusters surrounding the Milky Way. From clear dark skies, Omega can be seen, easily seen with the naked eye, as it shines at a magnitude 3.7. Assuming you are far enough away, so you can see it in the southern part of the sky. The Texas Star Party, which begins tomorrow and is held at Prude Ranch in Fort Davis. Thank you, Kelly, for that information, which starts again tomorrow. It's a great location to see Omega Centauri, and I've seen it many times from there. And also you can see from the Davis Mountain State Park and Big Bend National Park as well. That's even a little bit further south. Omega can be seen at the TASS observing site near Atoka, Oklahoma as well. Walter Scott Houston, a longtime columnist for the Deep Sky Wonders column in the Sky and Telescope magazine, surmised that it should be at least a theoretical visible from locations such as New York City and Pittsburgh and Cincinnati and San Francisco. Houston wrote sightings from Bird City, Kansas, at a latitude of 39 degrees 45 minutes. Pittsburgh, Eureka, California, and even near the California-Oregon border. Houston himself saw it from his hometown in East Haddon, Connecticut. Wow. I've never seen it from here in Dallas, but you need to have really dark skies away from the city lights to be able to see it. And a clear southern horizon. Slide Master, slide number 26, please. Centaurus A, also known as NGC 5128, is sometimes called the Hamburger Galaxy, though that nickname appears to be more often used with NGC 3628 and Leo, the third member of the Leo trio, with M65 and 66 being the other two members. NGC 5128 is about 5 degrees north of Omega Centauri, so it is seen from the latitude of Dallas easily and shines at a magnitude of 6.7. So it is visible in binoculars. Stephen J. O'Meara notes that NGC 5128 is the most dynamic and intriguing galaxy in the heavens. It is virtually a superlative in every region of the electromagnetic spectrum. It is, by far, the nearest and most violent Seyfert galaxy known. It is one of the most intense radio sources in the heavens and is a wellspring of infrared, X-ray, and gamma ray radiation as well. And this is KF5, JHA, and this is Skynet. Slide number 27, please. Here are a few more Astronomical League observing program objects on the constellation of Centaurus, the Centaur. I've just given you a sampling of a few of those objects. The Astronomical League has about 73 different observing programs, most of which have about 100 objects. Some have as few as 35, and some have as many as 400. But if you observe just 10 different objects in most of the observing programs each month, then you can earn an observing certificate and a pen in about a year. Slide number 28, and that is Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week, Centaurus, the Centaur. And I want to thank my friends Dave Hutchinson and Dennis Harwell for their research and words on the deep sky objects that I've used and borrowed and stolen for tonight. Also, at times I use the website constellation-guide.com for information, and I don't know what I'm going to look at next week. It'll be a surprise for me and you as well. And this is KF5JHA sending you it back to our net control, KF5 PDS. Good night, everyone.
Very much, Jazz. This is KF5 PDS, Billy, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. All right, next up is space launches for the week. So at this time, I'll turn the net back over to Tom, KE5ICX, if he'll give us a rundown on space launches from KF5 PDS.
Thank you, Billy. Here we go. We have April 26th, 27th. Long March 11H will launch from an ocean-going platform off the Chinese coast with seven small Jilin-1 Earth observation satellites for Changchun Satellite Company. 6 of the satellites are part of the Jilin-1 Geofen 03D high-resolution imaging constellation and other payloads as the Jilin-1 Goenfen 04A video imaging satellite. On April 27th, we have a launch from Polinsk Cosmodrome, Russia. This is a Russian government Angara 1.2 rocket which will launch a small MKAR spacecraft. This will be the first orbital launch attempt of an Angara 1.2 rocket. Also, April 27th, 28th will be the Electron launch. This one is called There and Back Again. This will launch 34 small satellites from the Haya Peninsula in New Zealand. The operators are Alba Orbital, Astris, Aurora Technologies. The Rocket Lab will attempt to catch the Electron's first stage booster from a helicopter for the first time. Rocket Lab has nicknamed the mission There and Back Again, delayed from April 22nd. Doesn't really tell us. 34 small satellites from the commercial operators. All right, April 29th, Falcon 9 launching Starlink 4-16. This is from Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. It'll be another batch of Starlink Internet satellites. They don't even tell you how many anymore. The drone, the Falcon 9 first stage will land on a drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean. Now, coming up May 19th, I jump ahead here real quick, we have an Atlas V CST-100 Starliner Orbital Test Flight 2 from Cape Canaveral. AV-0A2 will launch on Boeing CST-100 Starliner spacecraft on a second unpiloted test flight for the International Space Station. Let's see, also in May, I guess I jumped into the May stuff. Let me just skip one more of these and I'll quit. The SSLV launch, Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota, India, is a small satellite launch, or SSLV, for its first orbital test flight consisting of 3 solid-fueled stages and a liquid-fueled upper stage. It's a new Indian launch system designed to carry small satellites into low Earth orbit. All right, that's all I'm going to do on that one. Back to net control. This is KE5ICX.
Thank you very much, Tom. All right, next up is recent astronomical discoveries. So at this time, I'll turn the net over to Brenda, WB5OZL. The net is yours.
Thank you, Billy. This is WB5OZL. This article is entitled, Why Venus Rotates Slowly Despite Sun's Powerful Grip. If not for the soupy, fast-moving atmosphere on Venus, Earth's sister sister planet would likely not rotate. Instead, Venus would be locked in place, always facing the sun, the way the same side of the moon always faces Earth. The gravity of a large object in space can keep a smaller object from spinning, a phenomenon called tidal locking. Because it prevents this locking, a UC Riverside scientist argues the atmosphere needs to be a more prominent factor in studies of Venus as well as other planets. These arguments, as well as descriptions of Venus as a partially tidally locked planet, were published today in Nature Astronomy article. We think of the atmosphere as a thin, almost separate layer on top of a planet that has minimal interaction with a solid planet, said Stephen Kane, UCR astrophysicist and lead paper author. Venus's powerful atmosphere teaches us that it's a much more integrated part of the planet that affects absolutely everything, even how fast the Earth rotates. Venus takes 243 Earth days to rotate one time, but its atmosphere circulates the planet every 4 days. Extremely fast winds cause the atmosphere to drag along the surface of the planet as it circulates, slowing its rotation while also loosening the grip of the sun's gravity. Slow rotation, in turn, has dramatic consequences for the sweltering Venusian climate, with average temperatures of up to 900 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt lead. It's incredibly alien, a wildly different experience than being on Earth, Kane said. Standing on the surface of Venus would be like standing at the bottom of a very hot ocean. You couldn't breathe on it. One reason for the heat is that nearly all of the sun's energy absorbed by the planet is soaked up by Venus's atmosphere, never reaching the surface. This means that a rover with solar panels like the one NASA sent to Mars wouldn't work. The Venusian atmosphere also blocks the sun's energy from leaving the planet, preventing cooling or liquid water on its surface, a state known as the runaway greenhouse effect. It is unclear whether being partially tidally locked contributes to this runaway greenhouse state, a condition which ultimately renders a planet uninhabitable by life as we know it. Not only is it important to gain clarity on this question to understand Venus, it is important for studying the exoplanets likely to be targeted for future NASA missions. Most of the planets likely to be observed with the recently launched James Webb Space Telescope are very close to their stars, even closer than Venus is to the Sun. Therefore, they're also likely to be tidally locked. Since humans may never be able to visit exoplanets in person, making sure computer models account for the effects of tidal locking is critical. Venus is our opportunity to get these models correct, so we can properly understand the surface environments of planets around other stars, Kane said. We aren't doing a good job of considering this right now. We're mostly using Earth-type models to interpret the properties of exoplanets. Venus is waving both arms around, saying, "Look over here." Gaining clarity about the factors that contributed to a runaway greenhouse state of Venus, Earth's closest planetary neighbor, can also help improve models of what could one day happen to Earth's climate. Ultimately, my motivation in studying Venus is to better understand the Earth, Kane said. Okay, it's the end of the article. This is from ScienceDaily.com. Back to net. This is WB5OZL.
Thank you, Brenda. We still have some time, so at this time I'm going to return it to Tom. KE5ICX, if you'll give us a report on visible satellite passages over the next couple of days. So to KE5ICX from KFI. And also, if you'll do a quick check-in round, see if there's anybody that wants to check.
Okay, very good. I'll go ahead and do that. First off, let me go ahead and give the satellite passes we have, or passages we have. The International Space Station has one pass that may be of some interest. This would be on April 25th, minus 2.9 magnitude, out 5:41 a.m. out of the west to reach its highest point at 5. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get the right one here. Yeah, that is right. At 5:43, it'll reach its highest point at 36 degrees out of the northwest and fall at 5:46 to the northeast. Next up is Tiangong. That's the space station that's currently being assembled, and we featured in last week's article or discussion topic, actually. There's a couple of passes. April 29th is a pretty good one. This is 2.1 magnitude at 5:31 in the morning. Reaches its highest point at 5:34 at 45 degrees, and it falls at 5:37 to the east. Then we have on April 30th, the next day, there's actually two passes, but the best one is 1.4 magnitude at 6:09 a.m. out of the west-northwest and reach its highest point at 47 degrees, then fall to the south-southeast. Then finally, Tiangong 1 has a really nice pass on May 1st. It's 1.0 magnitude at 5:11 a.m., 39 degrees, reaches its highest point at 5:13 or directly overhead at 86 degrees, and it'll fall to the southeast at 5:16. Finally, old reliable Envinsat, which is a dead environmental weather satellite, has a couple of passes. It's polar, so being its size and the fact that it's north-south, we can get a number of good passes from it. April 27th, 3.0 magnitude, 6:14 in the a.m. coming from the north, reaches its highest point at 74 degrees at 6:19, falls southwest at 6:24. Then on April 30th, we have another reasonably good pass. That's a 3.1 magnitude at 6:03 a.m., reaches its highest point at 6:08 at 84 degrees, almost overhead, and falls to the east, southeast at 6:13. So there you have it. Those are the best passes I've got for you for this week. So I'll go ahead and take probably will be our final round of check-ins. If you'd like to join us this evening, or would just like to be in for the count, please come now with your call sign, your name, and where you're transmitting from. Okay, well, that's a surprise. We usually have some latecomers, but maybe not tonight. So, Miss Billy, we're up to 28 check-ins. Back to you from KE5ICX.
So tonight we had 28 hands participating on the air. So thank you to all who checked in this evening. We hope you'll join us here next week and every Saturday night at 9 p.m. to discuss astronomy, space, and space exploration. On this net, the sky is never the limit. We're always looking for net control stations for this and all the other DARC nets. If you'd like to try your hand at this, contact any of the net controls by sending an email to net@w5fc.org. You can follow topics and discussion about this net and astronomy in general on Facebook and Twitter, as well as our audio and video streams, video archives, and other useful internet resources by going to w5.org at the conclusion of this net. So until next Saturday night, this is KF5 PDS, Billy, and I'll be closing the net at 22:27 local time and returning the repeater to normal amateur use. Enjoy the evening discovering the universe. And remember, following Skynet is the Afterglow Movie Net. So stay tuned, come back in about 5 minutes, and the Afterglow Movie Net will start up to discuss Malice in Wonderland. So 7-3, everybody.
And Miss Billy is correct on all counts. We'll be back in 5 minutes, so go take a break, come back in 5 minutes, and we'll talk about the 2009-2010 rather bizarre movie called Malice in Wonderland in about 5. See you then. This is KE5I6. I'm clear until then.
Great net, everyone. Thanks so much. K5, JDW.
I'll second that. November 5, Oscar Foxtrot.
Normal normal state.
I'm completely operational, and all my circuits are functioning perfectly.
Afterglow Movie Net.
KC5ICX from W5GUS.
Yeah, go ahead, Gus, KE5ICX.
Yeah, Tom, did y'all ever do Dark Star, the movie Dark Star?
Oh, yes, we did that movie. And yes, you know that was the primordial beginnings for the movie Alien, for obvious reasons.
Oh, wonderful! Yeah, I saw it last night. It was on terrestrial station here, and so pretty good. I thought it would be excellent for the movie discussion. Okay, well that was it. Just curious. Thanks, Tom. We'll talk with you later. W5GUS.
Yep, sure thing. Actually, it was. I enjoyed the heck out of it. It was very funny. The first time I saw it, I think I saw it. How did I see that thing? You know where I saw it? I saw it at a convention, a science fiction convention, back in mid '70s. It hadn't been out that long, but long enough that they could put it on 16 millimeter. Maybe it was on 16 millimeter originally. Oh well. All right. Let me get set up for the next set. This is KE5ICX. Oh, I'm frantically looking for a decent review. I had this thing and I thought it was bookmarked, but not finding it. It was quite a good description of this film. Well, we'll get started here in a minute. Give me about 2-3 more minutes. I'll see if I can find a decent description of the movie, because Wiki doesn't really make it this time around. This is KE5ICX. We'll give me about 3 minutes and we'll get started.
Usually you've already sent that to us, Tom. K5JDW.
Yeah, I know, but I was hoping the reason. Well, this will do. This is what wasn't what I was looking for. I was looking for a real description here, not my fine description.
If you don't mind me saying so, the one you might find online might be boring compared to yours, K5JDW.
Yeah, thanks. Well, let's see here. I may, let me see. I may be able to use this. This is not the one I was looking for. It was a really good one, and I wanted so badly to use it, but I can't find it, and it's not in the top search. Oh, well. All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Tonight, we're going to be talking about a movie called Malice in Wonderland. It is a story that's done up as a British science fiction film or fantasy film based on Alice in Wonderland, as you might expect. And it came out at about the same time as the Alice in Wonderland, the Tim Burton version. However, I think this one's pretty darn good myself, even though a lot of people didn't think the same way. At any rate, it was received fairly negative reviews overall, but it is quite interesting. All right, I got to go to the wiki. I don't have anything else that works really well, so hold on. So, Malice in Wonderland is a 2009 British fantasy adventure directed by Simon Fellows and written by Jason Rothwell. It's roughly based on Lewis Carroll's 1865 novel, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. It's a modern take on the famous story by Lewis Carroll, and it's about a university student named who is knocked over by a black cab in central London. She wakes up, she has amnesia, lost in a world that is a long way from home. Wonderland. She's dragged through a surreal, frightening underworld filled by bizarre characters and lowlifes. By the cab driver, Whitey. Yeah, Whitey. Played by Danny Dyer. Confused, she tries to find out who she is, where she is from, and use what wits she has left to get back home. All right, so what we'll do is I will go ahead and take check-ins. Well, maybe I should tell you the rules of the road here. For those of you who may be listening for the first time, you want to participate. It's really easy. What we do is we ask for your name, your call sign, and if you want to tell us where you're at or located, that's fine. Otherwise, just let us know if you saw the movie or not, Malice in Wonderland. We'll go first and discuss the plot, if there is one. This one kind of does. Then we'll talk about the characterizations, and then if we have a third round, we'll have a third round, and it will probably be special effects or music or anything else. That usually takes us to the end of the net, and anything that you may have missed or thought of since you checked in and gave your prior comments, and any final check-ins, of course. So we'll go ahead and get started. We're talking about Malice in Wonderland. I'll go ahead and take check-ins. If you'd like to join us, please come now with your call sign, your name, and did you see Malice in Wonderland? Please come now.
November Tango 5 Tango Mike. Tony in Dallas. I did not see the movie.
Kilo India 5 Kilo Whiskey Golf. Cruise in Arlington. I saw some of it, but I don't think I have any comments today. I'll be listening on my porch, though.
Oh my, everybody probably ran away on this one. So I got Tony, NT5TM, over in Dallas. He did not see the movie. And I got Cruz, KI5KWG, who is in Arlington. He sort of saw it, but I don't think he wants to talk to us about it. But that's okay. I'll see. I may coax him into saying something if we don't get any more check-ins. So let's find out. Anyone else want to join us this evening? Please come now with your call sign name. And did you see tonight's movie, Malice in Wonderland?
This is WV5OZL in DeSoto, and yes, I did watch it.
Kilo Bravo 9, Sierra Oscar Kilo, Sean in Fort Worth. Yes, I did see it.
Okay, we picked up WB50ZL, Brenda in DeSoto. She did see the film. I got KB9SOK, Sean in Fort Worth. Yes, he saw the film. And I think I got Jake, KF5, KG5, I'll get it right, KG5BZW, Jay near Weatherford. I think you said no, you did not see it. Jay, did you see the film or not? I'm not quite sure I heard you.
Use Echolink. Yes, I saw I've seen everything but the last 15 minutes of it, so I think it's enough comments. KG5 today.
Okay, I have you down. I scratched off no and said yes, kind of. All right, I got you checked in and having seen most of the movie. Anyone else like to join us? Please come now with your call sign name. And did you see Malice in Wonderland from 2009? Okie dokie, no problem. Well, let's see. Let's go in reverse order this time, just because it's possible to do that. And then I'll do additional check-ins after that. So I'm going to start with Jay, KG5BZW. Jay, what did you think about the plot from KE5ICX?
This is KG5BZW. The plot. I don't really know exactly. I'm still trying to process the film here. I don't know that the plot is the strongest point. I think there's other aspects to it which are stronger. But it's definitely, at the very least, quirky overall. I really just don't know. I'm not really hating it, but I have to admit, 20 minutes in, I don't know. I've got some sort of sleeping issue today because I've been wanting to. 20 minutes in, I was like, oh, I gotta take a nap, and I don't know. I probably also had other reasons for taking a nap too. And then I saw a good portion of it recently, but I can definitely see where it's trying to get what it's trying to take from Alice in Wonderland to some degree. I mean, I'd have to review the book in particular to see, and I think the books and certain movies and what else to see what's what. But it's different. There's what to say about it. It's more about finding interesting characters than and trying to make them. Oh gosh, this sounds really stupid now that I'm saying it out loud. I don't know, man. I don't hate the film. Some aspects I do have trouble with is that she suddenly becomes interested in Whitey for some unknown reason because they have to introduce romance into the film or something. That was just kind of dumb. Other than that, I don't know. It's okay. I don't know. I'll certainly watch the last 15-20 minutes of it, but I'll just leave it at that. KQ5BW.
All right, thank you, Jay. And no, what you said is very true. The movie is intentionally confusing because that's how the story was originally, and Lewis Carroll originally envisioned it anyway. So, never fear. More to come. KB9SOK. Sean, your thoughts on the plot from KE5ICX.
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. This was it was actually kind of interesting. It was not quite what I expected, but somewhat. Obviously, it's kind of a re-envision of the Alice in Wonderland, but definitely a little different. For what it was, a low-budget film, I thought they actually did a pretty good job with this. Being a true fantasy, it kind of throws the rules right out the window. Even though we kind of had the time loop thing there at the end, and if you miss the last few minutes of it, you kind of lose the entire explanation of the movie. So you really need to watch those last few minutes. That kind of brings everything around. This was definitely full of characters, which is probably where this movie shines the most. The plot, it was simple, but yet somewhat complex. It was definitely some strange points. It is kind of hard to explain, I guess, in some respects, because obviously, it's about what happens to her after she loses her memory, and then the characters that basically help her get that memory back, and then finally, in the end, it kind of really, she finds out what was really going on with her father and what was going on, and, the movie did try to lead you down one path, thinking it was some kind of really, mob or something after. In reality, it was, just her father wanting to marry somebody for the benefit of him and not her. And then it kind of turns into a love story at the end where she falls in love with the cab driver. So it had a little bit of everything in it. It was definitely different. But overall, I actually kind of enjoyed it. I just, sometimes these low-budget ones or oddball ones, are really out there. But actually, I kind of liked it, actually. It kept me interested through the whole thing, and I would actually watch it again one day. But probably a lot more to be said during the characterization part. Back to net, this is KB9SOK.
Thank you, Sean. I agree with you. It kind of grew on me. I had some trouble understanding it. I'm still having trouble understanding it, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought, I want to go back and watch it again, see what I can get out of it the second time around. Next up is Brenda, WB50ZL. Brenda, tell us. You saw the movie. What did you think about it?
This is WB50ZL. I like the term, it grows on you. that's exactly the way I felt about it at the beginning. It's like, oh, you know, stupid and doesn't make any sense. But as the story developed, I thought it was a pretty good story. It was kind of fascinating to watch as you saw the parallels between it and the original story, which, you know, I've seen a number of movies and read the original book, and it's one of my favorite stories of all time. But I thought it was handled pretty well. The ending left me a little bit unsatisfied. Thought she should have reunited with the guy, and they could have resolved that. He's just waiting in the car, and I think they could have developed or had some closure on that relationship a little more, and her just talking to the older lady and going, oh, okay, here we are. And the lady says, well, you know, I have everything I need. No, she doesn't. She's a beggar in the street. She could certainly use a lot. But you think about the possibilities of them reuniting and having a relationship and, you know, taking things forward, the two of them. So that's all I'm going to say now. I'll have more later. WB50ZL, back to net.
All right, thank you, Brenda. Let me see here. I've got the two in the wings over here. I will come back to them in just a minute. I'll go ahead and ask if there are any additional check-ins at this point. If you'd like to join us, please come now with your call sign, your name. And did you see Malice in Wonderland from 2009? All right, I think it's going to be a slim evening. Oh, well. All right, let me see here if I can find my notes again. I think probably what's interesting about this film, there's a number of things, and some of this is covered in other parts of it, but it's meant to be kind of disorienting. The film itself is meant to be kind of weird. They have a lot of Dutch angles in them. Dutch angle, as you well know, if you've ever watched Batman, the series from 1966, whenever you watched it, the villains were on, and they were always at an angle because they were crooked. Yeah. Well, that's what a Dutch angle is, and there was a lot of those. Interestingly, that plays into it, color and all of that. Now, Alice, of course, she's under the influence. First, she has amnesia after being hit by the car. Take for your head. She takes these pills that Whitey gives her, the cab driver, and then suddenly she's in Wonderland. So at that point, of course, everything is, all bets are off, everything can happen, anything can happen, and it does, including completely irrational things along the way. All the characters, of course, are characters from Alice in Wonderland. We'll get into that in the next round. I think probably the hardest thing I had while watching the film is the Cockney accents always throw me for a loop, and with a movie such as this where the sound is kind of hard to hear, it's difficult. Although I did think it was quite interesting when Caterpillar was speaking in rhyme, and then everyone else went in rhyme as well. Caterpillar was the character who was driving the car that had all the pot smoke coming out of it, and the police car chasing after him. I thought, and everybody inside. That was pretty interesting in and of itself. I enjoyed the heck out of that. As you go along, of course, everything is true. She meets the person in the tunnel, in the tube, and this homeless person, and we find out later on, not to spoil the story, which I won't, we find out the identity of that person, and we also find and repeat that everything is true, that we'll meet again, and you'll get paid back, and all of those. And One is in time, not money, which I thought was interesting. Of course, the person who they appear to be is what's good. I thought, let's see, the party in the castle was quite interesting, and I enjoyed that, as well as the whole thing with the truck stop was bizarre to say the least. I hope everybody enjoyed what looked sort of like not a CB radio. I don't know what you would have in England as the equivalent to a CB radio, if anything, but they certainly had it at the end of the table. They didn't even have to plug it in. But it is a fantasy world, so you don't need to plug it in. Maybe it's battery operated. I don't know. Oh, what else can I say? Boy, everything gets into character after this, because there's the characters just come flying off that screen, even though we don't understand the plot so much. In fact, I'm not sure I understood the plot at all, but I think the original story was designed like that. All right, well, let's try this. I think it's going to be one of those short nights, but let's go ahead and go back to the top and talk about character. Oh, wait, I have to ask. Tony and Cruz. Let's start with Tony, NT5TM. Tony, would you watch this movie? Does it sound interesting to you? Have you read the Alice in Wonderland stories, or seen any iterations on television movies or any other iteration? Tell me now from KE5ICX.
NT5TM, I don't know if I should speak or if you were giving either of us a chance to say something.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I didn't mention who. NT5TM, Tony, and then I'll go to Cruz after that. So go ahead.
I have never read the original. Like Aaron, my primary knowledge of the Alice in Wonderland myth comes from the Tom Petty music video, Don't Come Around Here No More. Aaron says she did read the book and did see the Disney version of it. I did not. Although I sure do remember the Tom Petty music video. And she's grinning at me when I say that. I did not see this movie, as noted, but I am at least intrigued. You know, some weeks everyone's just like, arg, why did they spend time making this? It was so much work and they wasted all their time. But what I'm hearing here are things like watch again, feel a little confused, intrigued. So yeah, I think I might watch it, although tonight is probably not going to be the night, but I am intrigued. NT5TM.
All right, very good. And yeah, I think you and Aaron would actually enjoy this film. I was kind of surprised that you didn't see it, but you know, everybody's got lives to live and things to do, so you may not have had a chance to carve out time. But I would highly recommend it. I would do the same with Cruz. I think you'll find that the two of you, Aaron and Tony, and well, the three of you and Cruz would find this interesting. I really would. I do. I think it's I'm not sure what to make of it all because, as I said, it's supposed to be confusing anyway. It's going to take some rewatches to really pull it all together. All right, KI5KWG, Cruz, what do you think? Do you want to watch it?
Yeah, thanks, Tony. KI5KWG. I was agreeing with Tony, actually. I did watch most of it. I was interested. I liked the acting. I liked the dark filming style. But the Lewis Carroll Adventures of Alice in Wonderland was not in my canon of childhood stories. I knew of it, heard parts of it, you know, down the rabbit holes, part of our culture. But I've actually never read the story, didn't see the Disney version. Did try to watch the Tim Burton version once, and just was not getting into it, so abandoned it. And in this case, I just simply fell asleep watching it last week. So I never knew what the plot was. So that's why I was saying I really don't have any comments on this, and to kind of tie that up, as why I said I didn't think I'd really have much to say, is that I would be on my back porch. And my back porch means that, speaking of British CB, battery powered, my back porch means I'm going to be on the back porch with my HT, and so I can't usually hit this repeater with just that. So, but I came in to respond because you called me out on it there. And this is KIKD, and I'm back to you, Net.
All right, I'll make a deal with you. You can go back out on the porch. If you got a comment, just come on in and you can make a comment. But I was curious what you would think of it, because it is an interesting film, and I don't understand it either, but that's okay. All right, this is KE5ICX. We are talking about Malice in Wonderland from 2009 or 2010. You picked the date. I don't know. It's one or the other. We're not sure which, because it shows up as both if you look at references on the internet. If anybody else want to join us this evening, please come with your call. All right, we will start at the top, or in this case, the bottom of the list, because we went backwards. We'll start with Jay. We're going to talk about characterizations. There should be plenty here. KG5BZW, Jay, what do you think about characterization for this film?
All right, this is KG5BZW. Actually, trying to, there we go. Get the IMDb up so I can actually refer to a number of characters and whatnot, just to remind me. Oh, wow. Oh, gosh. I'm trying to think of what this film reminds me of. It's not a genre of film I typically consume, but no, man, really have to do some investigating. I'm thinking of certain films. I guess a little bit of pulp fiction and stuff like that. Just characters that kind of interesting, but just weird in their own right. And though in particular, I mean, I'm looking at Harry, apparently the king. So that whoever, gosh, I don't know what else to talk about. Cause it's like you almost have to go in depth with each character, but there's so many characters. The two main characters, we've got Alice, of course. I know how the original story, Alice is told to take certain consumables, and it seems like that's just one far-fetched part of the story. That I mean, but they do use the drugs to good effect. I mean, it's like the more things are revealed as he takes the drug. But the predictable thing about taking some weird drug is that could be taken advantage of in some way or fashion, or stolen from, or kidnapped, or whatever, as it happened with the brothel. Oh my gosh, what? I just don't know what to say about these characters. I like the acting, the voice acting. They got some very good not voice actors, but voices. Let's just say that for some of their characters. I was just kind of enthralled with the DJ, the Tweedledee, bodyguards. Might have been just part of it might have just been good down to everything. I don't know, but still, that is nice. The underground king is a little bit psychotic, and the fact everybody's pretty much besides being was it the rabbit that was always obsessed with time, or was it the Mad Hatter? I can't remember. It's been too long since I've seen the story. In fact, I think I'm not even sure if I've read the original story. I think I may have read its sequel through the Looking Glass, but I'm sorry. I know I've probably rambled on for the past 5 minutes, and I wish I could have more coherent thoughts of that, but it is what it is. I'm just going to leave it at that. Let this next person comment. KG5 EZW.
All right, thank you, Jay. Don't worry about it. I fully get it. Next up is Sean, KB9SOK. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to mention I did find the obscure website. It's actually fandom.com, and type in Malice in Wonderland, and it gives a nice detailed plot line telling you the basic plot to the film, and then it includes cast descriptions, character descriptions, I should say, and who they relate to or who they are approximating in the in the actual story. So if you're interested in knowing, like our DJ, of course, is the Cheshire Cat, which is interesting. So there you have it. Okay, let me go to Sean, KB9SOK. Your thoughts on characterization from KE5ICX?
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Yeah, I agree that the description you gave earlier is one of those films that kind of grows on you. But yeah, characters. Obviously, Alice was, the main, our protagonist, and obviously she went on this journey was really about her, of course. Obviously, she went on a pretty epic journey, really, because she went from not having a clue who she was to, figuring out who she was and what she really wanted, and then, of course, falling in love. And, I thought it was, pretty well acted. A few of these actors I did recognize. I didn't go look them up to see what they were in. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what they were in, but I know I've seen a few of these actors before, so I actually thought that it's pretty well acted. Obviously, when you got a fantasy like this, and one where basically it is almost like a drug-induced situation through the whole thing, of course the characters are going to be very over the top, just really out there. And as you said, that when each time she took the drug, she gained some of her memory, and bad things happened to her when she woke up. Found herself, going from character to character. I actually never read the book. The original I've seen many years ago was the Disney cartoon version, and that's been so long ago. I'll be honest, I can't really put most of the characters with the original, who was doing what. I just remember the basic premise of the original. So it's kind of hard to compare it, at least for me anyway, on that. And But yeah, I definitely found that her character was good. I liked the cab driver. I think it was Whitey. I think it was well acted, and it was definitely, he kind of went on a journey too of just being about greed, and then ultimately decided to help her, and and come around. So that was fun. And then there's just it's really just one character after another, and they all helped her in their own way for the most part, except for obviously the the bad guys that were just trying to sell her for the money. And then, of course, the lady that ran the truck stop, which, that was definitely out there. That was pretty funny. That was definitely strange, but it definitely kept your attention, and as we didn't really learn a lot about her from that particular character. But then also the guy in the car that's being chased by police, that was pretty funny as well. She did gain a little bit of insight from him. And then, of course, obviously the DJ was the person that was leading her back, and then when eventually it reached that time for her, of course, once again, this was fantasy, so we have no clue how he was able to do this or why he even wanted to help her. But at the end, he did, so that was interesting. And the only part that I thought was kind of really wasn't necessary, as far as the characters, was obviously the two bodyguards, and that part I could have done without. Basically they were just insulting people, and I think it was supposed to be a comedy thing, and it was just, I could have done without that part, to be quite honest. I think that was the one piece that just really, I don't think really advanced the story any at the end of the day, and so that was that, and then, like I said, they just very interesting characters, and they all just kind of had a little bit of their own comic relief through it all. Like I said, it's hard for me to compare it to the original because I don't remember it well enough to say who was each. And I won't spoil the end either for those couple that didn't get to finish it. But I thought it was a pretty nice ending. It did kind of clean things up, and you kind of get that impression there was a happily ever after at the end. So just kind of just a little fun, goofy movie, but all in all, pretty decent. Back to that, KB9S, okay.
All right, thank you, Sean. Next is Brenda, WB50ZL. Your thoughts on characterization, acting, whatever suits your fancy. The people in this from KE5ICX.
Thank you. This is WB50ZL. Well, I think they nailed a big part of just the flavor of this story, of irrational characters being crazy, and you can't quite figure out who they are, what they're about, what they're going to do. They're just nuts. I thought one of the best parts was the truck drivers moving down, just like they did in the movie, at the tea party, the characters, getting up and moving down a chair and changing chairs, which, to me, it was I just thought that was hilarious. They had some strange-looking actors in this movie, and you look at people like that sometimes and go, whatever made you think you should be an actor? But they did, and it works, because they were strange characters, for sure. Acting was pretty good, I thought. I didn't notice the music much, so I guess it was okay if you don't notice it. The scripting was pretty good, I thought. But some parts of it were just almost too silly, and that's okay. It made it funny. All right, back to net, WB50ZL.
All right, thank you, Brenda. This is KE5ICX. Let's see, anybody else want to join us this evening? We're talking about Malice in Wonderland, the 2009 movie about British gangsters in Alice's world. That Alice, as in Wonderland, the world of Wonderland. Anybody want to join us? Please come now. everybody away with the last couple of movies. Okay, well, let's see. My thoughts on characterization. First off, I really did like the cast. I think everybody was really well cast in this thing. What actor doesn't want to, play the outrageous character, the fiend, or essentially they all are. I mean, really, when you think about it, with the exception of Whitey, and even he has a darker side to him as well. But I thought it was very entertaining, everybody playing over-the-top characters. The best, of course, Danny Dyer as Whitey, as the white rabbit, you know that. And he wears the watches. He's late for a very important date, right? He has to get a delivery out and all of that. So I thought that was kind of fun. Let's see. I particularly like Caterpillar, Paul Key. He was really kind of fun. In the whole thing with the car and then heading out with all of the smoke going on. And speaking in rhyme, which I mentioned earlier, that was very, very interesting. We had, let's see, I'm kind of looking through the list here. We had Gonzo. He was over the top, the crazy henchman assassin character. He was interesting. We've got Harry Hunt, the king and the queen, really, when you think about it, in the great tea party. We had the executioner. That was, who was that? I can't recall who that was. Who was very much over the top. Boy, I'm not making much help, am I? Let's see here. Hold on. Let's see. I think it was. Now everything's moving around like crazy. I'm trying to remember all the characters, and I'm using the internet to help me. See, we have the Duchess. Yes, the one who was watching everything go on. She had her eyes everywhere she could be, and gives her an invitation to Harry's party. Oh well, boy, I'm not much help, I guess, this evening myself. Midge, the little short guy, he was interesting and very over the top, going through and finding stuff in the purse, and very committed to all sides with Alice and everybody around him, trying to gain a little wedge and a little advantage over all of them. Okay, time has run out. I don't know what else to say at this point. All the characters were very engaging, but I'm just trying to remember what happened and when. Now I have this whole long thing about where they went, what they did, and everything else. Dean and Dom, the bouncers, they were in there. They were Twiddledee and Tweedledum, I think, weren't they? Is that what it was? Yeah, Twiddledee and Tweedledum. They were fun, rejecting everybody until it became... Oh, that's right, they let them all in. They were told to let them all in so the king could have a party of queens, which is essentially what the crowd was outside. So you can figure that one out on your own. But that was the little thing, and the big party that went on inside. Okay, all right. Well, I've made a disaster out of my section, so let's go ahead. I will go back, and the easiest part, or maybe the hardest part, is to talk about the special effects. What went on, how it was done. What did you like? What didn't you like? What made sense? What didn't? What didn't not make sense? What did make sense? Okay, I'll start at the beginning with J, KG5BZWJ. Your turn from KE5ICX.
KG5BZW. Yeah, sorry. Immediately, comparing to other recent films we put on the net, it's kind of nice to see something that is more or less the edge of what I did. They did overuse some of the mods. When for her flashbacks, I thought that was fine, but there's other places where they use a lot of mods. My brain's not working right. I feel like I sent it wrong. Yeah, a lot of quick shots and crooked angles and expect to kind of blur reality, which I thought were maybe on occasion overly done, but not. It could be also considered tasteful. I don't know. Had the intro song, and then there was the song. It's like one of those montages that they added to the film. I felt like really wanted to add the song to the film, so they just had to collaborate them together for that. But it was a decent song, so maybe it was okay. See what else? Boy, that we've got the dance hall, or what, I don't know what you want to call that, the awful in the truck. Boy, that's different. We'll say that the special effects that were used besides some of the things that, which are obvious special effects, I think the special effects that were not intended to be obvious, I'm kind of being overly broad and talking about set design and all of that. I thought it all fit together well. The background stuff, you didn't really notice it. I have a little bit of trouble thinking of anything else. I did like the intro theme and that song I mentioned. Sound effect wise, I don't really remember that much. Maybe another thing I was talking about. Background thing that was good about the film. I'm not sure I have anything else to comment on. So I'll hand the next person to take you about these stories.
All right, thank you, Jay. Next up is Sean, KB9SOK. Your thoughts on, I don't know, the special effects, the weird stuff in Malice in Wonderland. Go ahead, from KE5ICX.
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Well, as you mentioned in the beginning there, this was kind of a low-budget film. So yeah, there wasn't a lot in the way of any kind of special effects. And I don't know that they really needed anything, really. I mean, they could have, if they followed more of the original Alice in Wonderland, then yeah, I guess they could have had, elaborate, weird-looking sets. But they kept it pretty simple, which I think was fine for this film. There just wasn't a whole lot of really too. I mean, pretty basic sets. You know, most of it's just, you know, filmed either in the cab or, you know, at the couple of places that she stepped along the way. So there just wasn't a whole lot there as far as set and stuff. But in this particular case, it didn't really need it. It didn't bother me this time. You know, sometimes that can be disappointing. But this time, it really didn't. It seemed like it was okay, and it fit. You know, all in all, you know, sound was okay. I don't really remember much about the music, to be honest. So, you know, I'm not real, you know, they had that little bit of, you know, music in it. I don't remember now what it even was, but I guess it wasn't very memorable, so I don't know if that's good or bad. But, you know, all in all, nothing fancy even in the, you know, the costumes or anything like that. Just pretty basic, but, you know, what can you expect for a low budget? So, yeah, not really much to add. I think everybody's pretty well kind of covered the crazy plot and the different characters and a few of the characters. I forgot that people brought them up, and not a whole lot to add there. Just, yeah, basically overall, I just enjoyed this movie, and I'd watch it again. And, you know, if you like kind of quirky movies, then I would recommend it. It definitely followed that for sure. So anyway, back to that. KB9 is okay.
All right, thank you, Sean. Next is Brenda, WB50ZL. Brenda, your words, your final words, or maybe not, who knows? Special effects, sound, music, anything. Go ahead, from KE5ICX.
This is WB50ZL. I think I mentioned music. I didn't even notice it, so I can't speak to that. Special effects, there weren't many. And this is barely even a sci-fi movie. But then again, it wasn't. Was it a sci-fi movie or was it not a sci-fi movie? They had some very clever sayings in this show. I feel there was a lot of thought put into it. And in case you don't know, her name was Alice Dodson. Lewis Carroll's real name was Charles Dodson, so they borrowed the name. If you don't know anything about Lewis Carroll, you would know that. So there's just these little details everywhere, and I imagine if we went back, well, if we studied the book more, went back and read the original book, we'd probably see a whole lot more Easter eggs and details that we had missed the first time. And in fact, to be honest, I was kind of far into the movie before I realized it was really about the original book. I just thought it was, you know, the name was just something clever. I didn't realize the parallels until it became really obvious pretty fast. So, let's see, what else did I like about this movie? You know, you cared about the characters, and I liked it. You really cared about poor little Alice, poor little rich girl whose daddy wants to use her, and she's lost. And Whitey was brilliant. He's kind of a rogue, but he's a very appealing character, and you see the goodness in him despite the rough exterior, and you're rooting for him. You hope he gets the girl because you like him, and you know that deep down he's a good guy. And the actor was very appealing. A lot of these actors were very charismatic. Some of them were just downright creepy, but I think that's the whole point. All right, back to net, WB50ZL.
Yeah, thank you, Brenda. I think you got it exactly right. I think they were very charismatic through all of it. That was, I think, one of the things that kept you kind of sticking through it, even though you're trying to figure out what the heck was going on. But I don't mind. All right, let me ask Tony. Tony may still be there. I'm going to leave Cruz alone. Tony may be gone. I don't know. But Tony, you got any words since you're there? I don't know. Your favorite. your favorite Alice in Wonderland story, movie, rendering, something like that? Go ahead, if you're there. You may be gone. From KE5ICX.
Well, I have two words, chrysanthemum and aardvark. Now, really, they have nothing to do with the movie, but hey, I did have words, right? Nope, I'm still intrigued. I'm interested here. This has gone on my list with Escape from the Planet of the Apes as movies I missed that I should try to backfill because people said interesting things about them, and I'm still curious. But nope, nothing new to add. Thank you, though. NP5TM.
Thank you, Tony. I did that for two reasons. One, I was curious if you were still out there or whether you had turned the radio off and gone to bed, but you're out there. And then secondly, what you might even say and whether you would even be intrigued about it, and wonder why the heck everybody is so incomprehensible while talking about this movie. And the answer is, of course, you already know. It's a very confusing movie, and it went by quickly, and everybody's trying to figure out what the heck everybody said. So confusing, yes. See once only, no. If you really are intent on trying to figure the thing out, you have to go back. You have to be very familiar with the Alice in Wonderland story. I am not so much. I read it very quickly for a class. Several years ago, I actually took an online correspondence class from the University of Michigan. This was one of the stories, and I had to read through that thing really quick because I only had a few days before I had to review it. So, as you can imagine, I kind of skipped through it so I could get through it and get a grade. In any case, my thoughts on it, as far as everything, I don't mind a movie like this where there are very little special effects. It's what you have and what you do with it. Lighting is important. The camera angles, like I was talking about, is quite interesting. How you dress your characters is very important. I mean, it's very clownish. I mean, it's an amusement park, no less. Using the carnival as almost a house of mirrors of sorts, and through the looking glass type of thing, I suppose. The castles and that, I think they were made up or in such a way and lit in such a way that made it intriguing and less than lifelike and somehow mysterious. All of that worked quite well. Even some of the more dreary spots were really quite fun with the way they lit them. There's the beach, there's the phone booth, and all the things inside the phone booth and other things. There's little trivia and things from the director and all that inside as well. All of that kind of plays out just fine, I think. So I didn't mind at all. Visually, it was quite interesting, even though I didn't quite get everything that was going on. So, no problem there. All right, with that, I'll go ahead and ask if anybody has any final comments or anything they forgot to say. Now's your opportunity. Just come with your call, and I'll go down the list.
WB50ZL.
Well, Brendan, I think you have the last word. Go ahead. WB50ZL from KE5ICX.
Just a little tidbit I picked up on the internet. It said that the Mad Hatter was based on composer Ed Wynn. He also did the voice. Well, of course, we all knew he did the voice. I had no idea Ed Wynn was a composer. Do you, Mr. Movie composer expert, know anything about that? WB50ZL.
Negative, I do not. I will have to look it up and see what he has done. But no, I did not. All right, let's see here. Okay, next week's movie, looks like I got to update the movie list again. I have to go down the list and see if I can refresh with some new movies or something that's recognizable. Next week will be I think, I'll have to check this and make sure we haven't seen it before, called A Dream Come True. I think, let me look. I'm just going through it real quick, but I don't think we've seen this one. It looks like some that we've seen in the past, but I think it's different. It's called A Dream Come True from 1963. We're going back to the 60s. Looks more like a 1950s film, and it looks very Russian, but it is a Americanized version of the 1963 Russian film. I will double check that and make sure that that is indeed what we'll be watching in case it's a rerun. I'll pick something else. If you have any films that you would like to see, by all means, let me know. I try and find ones that are available for free with ads or without ads, but they are free and available to the public legally, and we'll watch them. Sometimes some of them have spots in them that are fairly recent movies, at least for us in the last 10 years, and they will have usually commercials or something in them, some sort of commercial liner in it somehow, way, shape, or form. I'll watch those as well. I think it's time for me to dip back in and find some new films. We'll just have to see. Let's see, we are 1 week away. The problem is we've got, let's see. We could indeed, if there's something that's available. I'll let you know. Let me put it that way, because sometimes these films come and go. They show for 3 or 4 weeks, and then they go away, and then we try and watch them, and we can't. Such as Batman the other day. All right, enough rambling. Next week's movie should be, we think, A Dream Come True from 1963. I'll send out the links and all the information sometime tomorrow morning. Unless anybody's got anything else, I'm going to say sayonara for now, and hope we find something that we can really, really talk about next week and understand. This is KE5ICX. I'm clear for now.